Good morning, Kristel. How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Great. I'm doing great. I'm super excited to meet you today.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Girl, I love your smile. I have to start there. I love your smile.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Yo tengo todavía some baby teeth que nunca se me salieron, and so I feel like I look like a chimuela or just like uneven, but I'm like, whatever.
Nah, girl. I was the girl that had baby teeth forever. They had to pull them out. They would not fall out on their own. Yeah.
See, I'm
I
scared
got like
of that.
all my baby teeth pulled out.
I'm scared of that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
so scared. Every time I go to the dentist, I'm like, no, just leave it. Just leave it. Así me pueden enterrar. You can tell my you know how that sometimes I watch too much true crime. I'm so sorry. But I'm like, you know how they tell you by your dentures? I'm like, hey, I have a unique, I have unique teeth. They'll be
Yeah.
able to tell me like that, girl.
Yeah. No. They didn't let me keep them. They were like, no, they're coming out. They're coming out. So,
I'm so nervous. Okay. So, welcome. First of all, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me and with my audience. I can't wait until we get into your story, mujer. Like, I heard you're such a badass, and I heard that you have an amazing little shop, and that you're doing big things. And what I love most is that you're located in Atlanta, correct?
correct. Mhm.
Were you born and raised there?
So I was actually born in Mexico. I was born in Veracruz, but I was brought over as a baby. So even though I'm technically not a first generation, I feel like my experiences are more like first gen. So yeah, but I was born there. I was raised in Marietta. I like to say we're part of like the end of that first wave of Latinos that came to Georgia back in like the late 80s, early 90s. Because when we first got here, we were like one of three families. And I think up until like middle school, I was usually like the only Latina in my classes ever.
Oh my
So
God, I cannot
it's a
even
heck of an
imagine
experience.
that. That would be so intimidating.
Listen, when I went to LA for the first time as an adult, I was shook. The fact that there was like high schools named after Latinos, and
The
like our people
freeways.
everywhere and paleteros and all that stuff. And I was like, I'm gonna cry. It didn't fit in my brain being the only Latina in most of my classes. I was like, wow, this is amazing. Our people, look, that high school has a Hispanic name.
Yes,
So
girl.
it's a crazy experience.
All the streets, todo. So I'm in San Diego, California, which is about 2 hours away from LA. And when I hear people from the East Coast, I'm like, my heart goes out to you guys. Because I went there once and it was a horrible experience because my family was like the only Mexican family there. The food was not okay to what we're accustomed to. I'm like, where's the taco shops? Where's, la señora que está vendiendo los raspados or the fruta in the corner? Nada, mujer, nada.
Nada, we still don't really have it like that, but we're getting there. We're pushing for it.
Somehow, somewhere.
Yeah.
But yes, oh my God. Okay, so when you said Murrieta, is that in Atlanta?
So Marietta is like right outside of Atlanta. It's like a little suburban type of area right outside of the city. We're probably one of the closest
Because
to the city.
over here in California, we have Murrieta también.
But
Murrieta.
it's Marietta.
Oh,
Yeah.
Marieta. Oh, okay.
Marietta.
Okay.
Yeah.
Girl, you got me excited for a little bit, but then when you said like I was the only Latina, I'm like,
no.
oh no.
No, it's Marietta. Mm-hmm.
So, how were you able to grow up there, being, one of the very first Latinas, girl? How did you keep your spice, your essence, your culture? How was that?
To be honest, it was my parents.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, we live here now, we're in the U.S., pero somos mexicanos, like 100,000%. You're never going to forget it. You're not going to stop speaking Spanish. We're never going to let go of our roots. So I give that, yeah, it's 100% my parents. Gracias a ellos, they made sure that we didn't forget our traditions and our cultures, and they kept it alive. Back then, now it's a lot more common and easy to like find a panaderia, to find the restaurants. You know, they're popping up much more. It's much easier. But back then, we would literally have to drive forever and a day to get, you know, back then I think we would go to like El Taco Veloz, which is the most authentic type of, you know, food that we could get. And it was like 45 minutes from where we live. So that was like our treat. Other than that, it was at home. So thankfully, like my mom, you know, she would make pozole, tres leches, lentejas, whatever we would eat back home.
Nunca perdió el sazón.
Right, right. So we kept that at home. So it was very much an intimate thing, and to go out and find the stuff that, you know, was nice for us was a treat, you know, because back then it was so hard. Now, thankfully, we've grown. The East Coast is growing with its Latino presence, Mexican presence, and you know, my business is actually kind of a part of that, you know, so that's really exciting.
Yes, I cannot wait until we get into your business, because I was checking it out and I was like, damn it, I wish I was in Atlanta. Pero algún día, hopefully soon, you know, one day I'll be out there and I get to have the pleasure of going to your shop. But that's very important. I think, you know, it breaks my heart when I've heard, I actually know people in my life that I grew up with that were not allowed to speak Spanish because no te vas a hacer menos. Like, speaking Spanish is going to bring you down. Like, they can't know. And I'm like, okay, but when his name is like Diego Rivera, like you can't mistake, you can't hide it.
Kind of hard.
Yes, like you just can't hide it. I'm sorry, you know. But it breaks my heart. So I'm super glad that your family, you know, was able to keep its culture. Did you ever experience racism, girl?
Oh,
really?
So much. And you know, I'm a pale Latina, I'm a pale Mexican, pero even like there was no way I was mixing in. Like they knew I wasn't from there.
Oh girl, we could tell.
And it was,
they could tell us. They could spot us a mile away.
They spot us from a mile away, you know. And it's really hard because in Atlanta, the conversations about culture and politics and all that is very black and white. You know, there is no brown, there is no Asian, there is really, you know, all the other minorities just aren't included. It's you're white or you're black. And that's kind of what the experience was like. And, you know, unfortunately, we got it from both parties. We got it from both parties, the racism and the things that they would say to us. And, you know, and it wasn't a beautiful experience, but that, just as much as bad, there was good. There was those who taught us. A large part of the Black community taught me how to do life in Atlanta, go to college, what it was like, you know, to do things. Because my dad was the first in his family to come over. You know, he's the one who decided. Most of our family is still back in Mexico. You know, we have a lot of roots, a lot of families still there. So, like I said, we're that first wave. My dad learned to do life here, and we had, you know, white and black friends who really helped us figure it out.
Wow. That surprises me in many ways, because being in San Diego, it's predominantly Mexican, but there's also Latin American, you know, from Honduras, Salvadoreños, de Guatemala. Like, we're from everywhere, girl, right? Hasta colombianos tenemos, cubanos, tenemos de todo acá. But I think one of our, or at least I should speak for myself, at least for myself, one of the biggest allies of ours was the black people. And some of my closest friends were black. I cannot imagine, you know, black people not liking us. Like, that is crazy. Or, you know, teasing us. Because if anything, when I was growing up, éramos así, like, you know, God, I don't know what I would do without my black friends, because they bring so much spice. They have like their own spice.
Yeah. And the large majority of my friends were black as well. So I grew up more so on you know, with the black community. But like I said, you're going to get it from everywhere, different points of view, right? You know, we are the new people coming in and taking what, you know, they've fought so hard for. So I get the point of view, but I personally, it wasn't my choice to come here.
No, yeah.
I was brought here, so I am just. So I
and
totally
I think there was
it.
a lot of ignorance too, because even for myself, I grew up in the 90s. I think there was a lot of ignorance, and we always just stayed quiet, kept small, like do not stand out, do not call attention to yourself, do not show them what you know, because cállate.
Right. Yeah, calladita. Te ves más bonita,
yes.
Pues a whole other level back then. Yeah.
Which, by the way, I feel like this was meant to be, because look at the shirt that I'm wearing.
Wow, look at that. I love it.
And I always wear black, but today I'm like, I just got these. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to wear it. And I think it's like so appropriate too.
Yeah, I love it. So cute.
Thank you. And so you said you went to college, girl. How was that? What college, or what did you go to college for? I'm sorry.
So I did. I am the first in my fam on this side to have gone to college and finished. Yeah.
Yes.
So I went to Georgia State University. It's the one like smack dab in the middle of Atlanta. So I am a city girl. And I studied business administration. I always knew I wanted to have a business. So my concentration was managerial science and entrepreneurship.
Girl, you were smarter than I was.
Why, Evan?
No, because I went to college for medical interpretation or interpreting, right?
Okay.
Spanish and English. And I thought that's what I was like, that's what I'm going to do. Because I've always been sick. So I was always in and out of the hospitals. I know how bad my parents struggled with understanding what was going on with me. They couldn't advocate for me because back then, medical interpreters wasn't a thing. Like, you knew English or you didn't. There was no accommodations. And so I saw how much they struggled with me. And I'm talking about since I was a year and a half old until today, todavía pobrecitos. Cuando me enfermo, they go through it. But I went, and then now I'm like, damn it. I totally forgot that I wanted my own business and that I wanted all this. So now as an adult, I'm having to go back to school and learn it. But that's so dope that you got it from the first time that you went.
Yeah, so I actually come from a family of a lot of business owners. So, my dad and my grandmother, my aunts and uncles, the large majority have their own businesses. So lo llevo en la sangre, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us Latinos do, girl. Because no hay de otra en nuestros países. Like, there's no other choice. There's no, even if you were to get a factory job or a basic job over there, it's not enough.
Right.
And I always say one day, maybe, hopefully I'm blessed enough to retire in Mexico. I'll be selling dulces from my house.
Same. I'm trying to push my pieces together and strategize so that I can do the same, girl. I'm trying to go back. Yes. I am definitely go back.
Yes. I know my parents freak out when I tell them that. Because my dad's like, you don't understand. It's horrible out there. They're killing people. They're this. And I'm like, they're killing people here, Dad. That's everywhere. But, I think it's time that we go back. It always breaks my heart. I just had my dad on July 6th. His episode came out. And for the first time, my dad actually sat down with me and told me his life story. And that was hard because I had never heard his life story. And it breaks my heart that Mexico made a lot of our parents literally escape it and try to find something different. Pero también el empezar de aquí desde cero, sin familia, sin ayuda, sin recursos, sin saber el lenguaje. And I was like, damn. I have a new respect and admiration for my father after that episode. So for the people that know Spanish, because it's fully in Spanish, go and check it out. If you don't speak Spanish, I'm so sorry, but trust me, you do not want him speaking English.
That's awesome. We're kind of in that same season with our family too, because we are the ones, right? We are the ones. So I am very intentional about having conversations with them and extending it. maybe like last week, I had, a sit down with some of my cousins, and I was like, look, we can be upset about all the stuff that's going on in our family. I was like, or we can sit and have a conversation about it. Podemos hablar, and let me tell you, the conversations that I try to like initiate with my aunts and uncles and that are here, I learned so much. And I'm like, and I see things differently, and I have any respect. I'm like, unfortunately in our family, there is a situation of like physical abuse. My grandmother was physically abusive with my aunts and uncles, and they finally opened up about it. And I was like, if you guys don't tell us, we can't acknowledge that you guys were the ones who broke that cycle. Yes. How do we give you props and credit if you don't tell us that this is something that you've done and you've broken, right? And when I tell you, like, my uncle started crying, and I was like, I want you guys to pat yourself on the back because you guys didn't hit us. Mm-hmm. I grew up in a household where they didn't hit us. There was the occasional here and there, but definitely not, and I was like, you guys earned that credit. Yes. Pero si no nos dicen, we don't know.
How do we break the cycle too?
Right. We're opening, like these tunnels of communication and making them more comfortable. And like, we're adults now. We can take it. We can understand. So, but that's great. I love to hear it. Same with my dad. We asked him, like, tell us about your childhood. And we found out he started working when he was 6 years old.
My dad too, girl.
My dad's been working since he was 6.
I was like, what? Like, how? Didn't you have grandparents? Like, they didn't step in? Like, what? Because to me, I cannot fathom that, right? And I don't know if you're a mom, but I'm a mom, and I'm like, how can I let my child, the 6-year-old, like, and that only puts in perspective cómo México estaba en ese tiempo, donde hasta los niños tenían que trabajar.
Yeah, vendía sus chicles, and then when he got to be a little bit older, vendía el pan that my grandma would make. She was a panadera, so he would go around the neighborhood, and on the basket with his head, on his plate, he would sell the pan in Michoacán. So, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I started working at 14, and I have a 12-year-old now, and I was like, I can't imagine him working in 2 years. None less 6 years old.
Oh, my God. Pero ves, you're already breaking that cycle. And that's what I told my dad, because my dad was like, why do you want to do this? Girl, it took me years to be like,
convincing, I'm sure.
Yes. Because, especially men in our culture, I don't feel like they feel safe, maybe. I don't know what's the right word to use, but or they're not used to it. They feel so foreign to the idea of opening up and being vulnerable and telling us, what it feels like. And my dad was telling me his story, girl, like it was nothing. And I'm like sitting there, and I'm like, and I had to keep myself composed. But even my son's like, Mom, your voice. And I'm like, I was sick because I had a cold. But I was like, I was sick. And, my son's like, Mom, no, like, you can tell that it did affect you. Like, you didn't even know what to say. And I'm like, well, what do I say to that? Like, the fact that he didn't even have a cobija, because he talks about how he had to, wake up early in the morning y esperar el sol para que los calentara. Him and his little siblings, because there was no cobijas. He didn't even know what a chamarra was. And he had a little sweater that lasted him for years. And it's like, oh, man. Y nunca nosotros padecimos eso. My dad was a better dad with us. But, of course, he's human. He's going to fail in some things. So he failed in some things. And, I feel like my older 2 siblings are very hard on them. But I'm like, they were 16 and 20 when they got married. Girl.
Oh my God, are we living the same life?
Yeah.
That were my parents.
No way. And what do you know at 16 and 20, girl?
Hey, shoot, I'm 35 and I'm still figuring it out.
Girl, I'm 37. And I have no idea what I'm doing in life. And so me quebra el corazón, that they did that, but at the same time, I'm super proud of them. So I told my dad, I'm like, how did you know where Social Security was? How did you know how to find a job? How did you know? Because there was no Google, there was no cell phones, there was no nothing. So how? And so he explained all that in his episode, and it was very interesting. So to me, people like you that is just like me, trying to break those barriers and trying to create something and trying to leave a legacy, girl. Because like I said, I met you through Jasmine, the creator of Becalia Botanicals. Amazing woman. I look up to her so much. And me dijo, she's amazing. You need to meet her. So obviously you're doing something amazing too.
You guys hype me up way too much.
So tell me, how did you start your business, girl? Don't tell me what your business is yet. Just tell me how you started.
Okay. So, like I said, I always knew I wanted to have a business, and I didn't know exactly what it was. I just knew I had a few requirements, right? It had to be something that would keep my interest, obviously, for a long period of time, and that it would require for me to go back home at least once a year. So those were my requirements for my business. And then as I was researching, I was, as soon as I graduated from college, I got really lucky and I got a job at the Coca-Cola company at the headquarters.
Nice.
Yeah. So while I was there, I made really good friends with a coworker who was from Colombia. And we would go down, we'd IM each other and be like, hey, cafecito time, cafecito time, cafecito time. So we'd go down for coffee and I'm like, this coffee's pretty good, pero como que le hace falta un pan or una empanada or, you know, whatever you normally eat with your coffee. And that kind of lit the light bulb. And I was like, well, you know, that may be, you know, an area of opportunity. And I started doing my research and I was like, this doesn't exist. It's zero. It does not exist here in Atlanta. And then I did a wider search and I was like, it doesn't even exist on the East Coast. You know, so I kind of started, you know, doing my research on the coffee industry. And I started learning how to make pan with my grandma. And yeah, so then I put the two together and I was like, boom, Mexican coffee shop. That's what we're going to do.
Girl, yes. Hold on. That is amazing. And I can't believe that doesn't exist over there, girl. Oh my God. So you're the very first one. And obviously because you went to business school, I'm sure that you were like, what's the best neighborhood for this? What's the best spot? Just give us a little fast forward. How successful has it been?
So it's been, obviously being the first, I'll preface this, being the first, there are huge advantages, right?
Oh, of course.
Like this doesn't exist before, but there's also really big disadvantages, right? Because you're creating something from nothing.
Yeah.
So putting everything together, and then I launched 5 months before COVID.
Oh, that's harsh.
Yeah. So about 80% of my business has been COVID affected.
Yeah.
But girl, it's obviously something that, you know, the market wants because we're still in business. We're still growing.
Yes.
Even with the pandemic. So I started off as a pop-up. And I would pop up at like festivals and events and things like that. And then within like 2 or 3 months of existing, I had another business owner reach out and was like, hey, I have this like walk-up window that you can serve the coffee out of if you're up for it. And Jeanette is Salvadoreña and her husband is Jewish. So they had this space and they were like, it's empty. You're more than welcome to try it out, girl. And it went so fantastic. Awesome. Yeah. So shout out to Ken and Jeanette for letting me do that at their window. But then COVID hit. And, you know, this was in a time when like everyone was freaking out. No one really understood it. No one knew it. And they were like, oh, well, it affects your pulmonary. And girl, my son was like super weak in his lungs and he was really prone to stuff like that. And I freaked out and I was like, I have to pull out. Like, I can't bring something home and not know and then him get sick, right?
Oh my God.
So I gave up the space at the window and went delivery only. So I was delivering from my car, like out of my trunk, cafecito, to people's houses.
Okay, hold on. Pause right there.
Yeah.
Because I'm so happy that you're speaking about this, girl. Because I thought you were going to be like, oh yeah, we're booming, everything's going. But what I love to share with my listeners, and the whole reason why I asked you, is because anybody can look at any business, girl. Any business, I don't care what it is. And you can say, damn, they're successful, right? Pero no saben los sacrificios que uno tiene que hacer. And that is huge, because I bet you that you doubted yourself when you had to start delivering.
Yeah. And I had no idea cómo le iba a hacer, to be honest. I was like, well, it seems like all the other restaurants are doing delivery. Me voy a aventar. I'm going to give it a try. Girl, I spilled coffee in my car. I spilled horchata in my car. Like, I had so many mistakes. Like, I had to figure out until I got to the point where I got so good at the deliveries. Like, te llevaba el café frío, like, in a bottle and a cup with ice, and he would just pour it over. So I kept the quality. I kept the amount. Like, this is what it is to be an entrepreneur, is to fix all the mistakes along the way and be the best at it. Like, that's just, it has to be a part of your DNA.
Oh my God, that is so encouraging.
I'm learning to make peace with it, because let me tell you, as a perfectionist, I had a really hard time with it. But I couldn't give up, and in that sense, sí soy terca. Like, I really wanted to do this.
Okay, but let's touch on that, because there's days where I'm sure you just wanted to throw in the towel, right? Mm-hmm. You're like, let me just start from scratch. It seems easier to start from scratch because you want to have success like this. When in reality, success is like...
Exactly. It's boat going in the waves, up and down, up and down.
Yes. So on those hard days, would you pep talk to yourself? Would you call somebody to kind of pep talk you through it? Would you pray? How would you do it, girl, on those really, really tough days?
A combination of all those things. You have to be able to vent, and say, like, I don't know. Maybe I think I'm going to write a book one day where it's going to be like, la cagué all the way to my success. I don't know. Like, there's days where you have to say, like, geez, did I make the right decision? Did I do this? Was I being selfish? Like, I had a son, and I put everything into this business, all my savings, everything that I had, I put it into the business. And I was like, dang, was I being selfish? Was I being selfish? Because now look, I mean, I did what I had to do. I sold my condo that I was living in, and I went to go live in, a family's basement to minimize my expenses. I paid off my car. I did it all. Like, literally, when I say I put it all into this business, I put it all in. And there was days where I was like, no. But then those same days, he would come up to me and be like, Mommy, are we going to go to Cafecito today? Are we? And he was so proud. He would tell his people, like, I was Howard Schultz. Like, I was the CEO of Starbucks. That's how he would talk about me. And I was like, no, pues, hay que seguirle, keep echándole ganas, because he's so proud. And I was like, okay, so I'm doing something right, because it's orgullo, and I was just like, I can't give up. And then my grandmother saw it, and I was like, I can't give up. My abuelitas are like, dale, mija, you're going to do it. You're going to be la estrellita más brillante. That's what my grandmother told me. And I was like, oh my goodness,
that is so sweet. Oh my God, can I share something with you? I know this is kind of a little bit off track, but ahorita que dijiste tu abuelita, girl, like, how important are our grandparents in our life? So my grandmother passed away in 2020. And because I don't have an autoimmune, or como se dice, like a defense mechanism in my body. Like, I'm very prone to getting sick. So I was like completely isolated during COVID. So I wasn't able to go say goodbye to my grandma. And I always kind of had to deal with that, and it broke my heart. And today I woke up happier because last night me despedí de ella.
Oh,
that's why right now that you said that about your grandma, I'm like, oh. And I feel happy because I finally said goodbye to her.
But they're always with us. Whether they're here physically or not, they're always with us. And I wanted to make sure that I had that. So I launched my business when my grandfather passed away. Because all I had left was my two grandmas. Both my grandfathers had passed away. And I was like, no, it's now, because I really wanted them to see, the sacrifice that my dad made by moving us to this country and just the time away. Like, we didn't grow up with them. We didn't get to have them for birthdays. We didn't get to hang out at their houses. We would go for summers, but that was it. We got 2 months out of the year at most.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
Not the same, right? And to me, like, being successful, I wanted them to see it was worth the sacrifice, being away from them, and that they're still part of it. Like, my maternal grandmother knitted me, she embroidered me like a tablecloth. I cut it up and I put it in frames, and it's decor at the shop. And
oh my God, girl! Oh my God!
I'm like, they are very much a part of that. The thread that is my business, the concept, everything, because that's what it means to me. They are my roots. They are a huge part of it. The other grandmother is the one who taught me how to make conchas and, pan dulce. So they are very much, and I feel like it's very much connecting to my roots, but continuing their story, continuing our legacy and moving forward, and not letting go of them.
And the fact that your son got it before you even got it, girl, because I bet you he was more excited and more proud of you before you were even proud of you.
100%.
Like, there are little mortars, because mi niño también, like, every time that I'm like, oh my God, like, on my day, because we all have bad days. And the reason why I'm speaking on this is because if you guys are thinking about starting something, know that it's not easy. Me having to record, sit here, grab these beautiful people for you guys and like sit down with them. She's really busy. Everybody that I interview is really busy, but you guys allow me to have 1 hour of your time, and we sit here and everything might look perfect. Pero there's days where I don't feel like editing. There's days that I feel like I post something and it gets 10 views and I'm like, ugh, no estoy progresando. I'm still not getting paid for this. And some people, when I reach out to them, ask me, my fee is $1,000, like literally. And I'm like, even the most popular people that I've reached out to don't charge me a fee. Like, what? So it's challenging. But then again, when I'm like, no, I don't feel like editing today. I don't feel like reaching out through emails. I don't. My son's like, Mom, do it. Oh my God. Mom, did you see like the comments that you got on this? Mom, like, that was so cool that you got to meet this person. And I'm like, okay, I got to keep going for him. So on those hard days, on those hard days, I just think about him and how happy he is for me, that I'm like, no, I can't give up, because then I would be teaching him to give up on his dreams.
Right.
So, girl, but that's so sweet. So your shop, describe us your shop, girl, because I've seen it on Instagram. Super cute, by the way.
Thank you.
For the people that don't live in Atlanta, you can still go and support her by liking her page, by spreading the word. If you know anybody, if you ever go on vacation, it's free to give her a like, to give her a follow. Explain to us your little shop. What was the concept, and did you have a lot to say when it came to it?
So the business is called Cafecito, Mexican Coffee Shop, and it's spelled like cafecito with an X, kind of play onto our indigenous roots. So cafecito.coffeeshop on Instagram, and it's a Mexican coffee shop. The concept is pretty much take Starbucks and replace everything with Mexican drinks, ingredients, food. So we are the center. We are the center and heart of the business. Our culture, our traditions, everything that we are is celebrated. So our motto, I guess, is celebrating our cultura with every single cup of cafecito. So horchata lattes, mazapan lattes, Mexican mocha, cajeta lattes.
Girl, do you ship?
I'm going to have to figure out how to do that, because, yes.
Oh my God. It's like, I'll FedEx it. I'll pay for FedEx overnight. I'll have it tomorrow.
Oh, man. And, the recipes my grandmother helped me with, and I tweaked them a little bit to be mine, that's what makes it work. But our horchata latte is by far the most popular, and it's exactly that. It's horchata with espresso, or horchata cold brew, which is horchata with cold brew coffee. But again, a little bit back to like my childhood, I would have loved having this growing up, right? Because having those things to us was a treat. but we should celebrate us and our traditions and our culture and our things every single day. So this is my way of doing that, right? Like coffee is a part of your everyday. Like I know everyone goes to Starbucks for something, at least once a day or to your local coffee shop, whatever. So I was like, this is a great way to put us at the center of the business, to celebrate us every single day and to educate the people around it and share, the yumminess that is to be Mexican and have our food and, our culture. So that's pretty much what my shop is. So we do pan dulce. We do like empanadas. I don't know if you're familiar. Are you familiar with like molletes? You know what molletes are?
Yes, girl. Yeah, I'm getting so
we
okay.
have molletes,
I haven't ate breakfast. It's 11:40 over here for me. I haven't ate breakfast, and you're making me so hungry. Oh my god.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what our business is. We're the first in the city to exist here in Georgia, and looking forward to just growing. But of course, there's ebbs and flows. We actually just moved out of a larger space, and we're going to go into a smaller one. So we're going to go inside of a co-working space right down the street from where we were to kind of reset, reboot, and then hopefully in the near future, partnering with like local Mexican restaurants to do like kind of one-off café con pan type of service. Yeah, and then of course maybe either like a coffee cart of some sort or a trailer.
Yes, girl. I would even want that over here because we have a lot of Mexican restaurants. We have thankfully we do have coffee shops, mom and pop shops that are authentically. Hay uno que me encanta near me that's called Mujer Divina. And girl,
I haven't heard of that one.
They have like burritos in the morning, de todo. And I'm so hungry. I'm so sorry. Like the little fat girl in me is coming out. But delicioso. But I could just imagine because usually us Latinos, especially for us Mexicans, podemos tragarnos 10 tacos, girl, pero we always have to have it with something sweet at the end.
Yep, exactly.
So that would be so... Yes. Like I remember, thankfully I was blessed enough since I'm in San Diego. Tijuana's our border town. And my grandparents lived in Tijuana. And so every weekend, Saturday, Sunday, grandma's house. Saturday, Sunday, grandma's house. And it was so cute because my grandma would be haciéndonos menudo, carne con chile, frijolitos peruanos. She would be going all out, girl, for us. And then my grandpa, after dinner, he would turn on the thing, poner la olla de barro y hacernos arroz con leche.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So I'm like,
so good.
Oh, so good. And right now that you just said it, it's like, oh my God, that's freaking genius. I hope you do it, girl.
Yes. And when, like I said, we would go back home for most summers, actually. I think I spent more summers in Mexico than I did in the States.
That's beautiful.
Very privileged that we were able to do that. Yes. But that's what they would do there. Like when you're done, most spots will have like pan dulce, a basket of pan dulce that they'll bring out or, stuff like that. And I'm like, we don't have that here. And that's such an authentic experience that I would love to kind of partner with restaurants to be able to provide that. I'm like, so if you're going to be a Mexican restaurant, be Mexican,
yes.
Serve at the end,
Yes.
So hopefully that works out. It's in the works right now.
Sending you good vibes, girl. Sending you good vibes. Good vibes that way. That way you can start a trend.
The East Coast.
Yes. Oh my God. So I can finally go and actually see what the East Coast is about because I was scared out of it.
Girl.
In 2003, I was like, I'm never coming back.
No.
And maybe you could even start an international thing, girl, because I would love for the West Coast to adopt that too.
Right. No, might as well. Shoot. So that's kind of where my head is and where the business has been. So we reopen in 2 weeks. And so that's kind of what we're working on. But again, emphasizing what you said about the ebbs and flows of being an entrepreneur. I really think if anyone is interested in starting your own business, really, really, really figure out and find why you want to. Because if your heart is not aligned with the why, it's going to be really easy. It's going to
Yes.
be really easy, and there's going to be a million and one reasons to do it. And you kind of have to have that little bit of craziness. It's like, I don't care. I don't care that I keep, messing with my mental health, or, I've gained like 20 pounds since I started my business. And, I'm trying to get things back in order, but, you
Yeah,
have
but
to
it's
keep
a lot.
pushing every day.
You're doing 1,010 things all at once, because you have the hat of being a business owner, the hat of, running a business. Those are two different hats. They don't go under the same category. Like, there's so many things that go into running a business that I think a lot of people lack to understand. And that's why I love to interview you guys, because it breaks my heart cuando alguien trata de regatear.
Yeah.
Why is your coffee, like at the coffee shop that I mentioned that I love going to, sometimes the prices, depending, como está, or the season, the off season, the on season, sometimes prices go up. But I'm like, you guys don't walk into Starbucks and ask them why their cups are getting smaller and their prices are getting higher.
Right.
But for some reason, it's like, oh, you're Latino, you're supposed to be cheap. No, we're not China. This is not China, girl.
We have work to do to change that perspective, because that is worldwide. Like, it's Mexican, it's supposed to be cheap. No, actually not.
No, and I try to lead by example, and my listeners know this. You can even ask Jasmine if you'd like. When I interviewed Jasmine afterwards, she was like, I can give you a discount code, I can give you an affiliate link, and I was like, no, girl, no. I love to support people. There's no reason for me to ask for anything free. If I can't afford it, I'll support you any other way that I can. And when I'm able to support you, I'll support you. Pero si no puedo, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh yeah, send me a discount code. That's not friends. You're not being friendly. You're not helping out. You have to pay full price. And I was able to buy something full price from her. I didn't ask for I didn't even use the 15% discount that she has on her website. I was like, no, yo pago full price, girl. Like, it's okay. And I was kind of mad at her because she sent me like a few little extra things in my pedido, and I'm like, girl, but she has
but that's how we are. I would do the same thing though. Like, you buy one drink and I'll send you like a churro or something. I don't know.
Oh, churros. Oh, girl, you're making me so hungry. But that's what it's about, you guys. For the people that are listening, for the people that are watching us, please understand, when you give back fully to these shops, businesses, whatever it is that belong to people that look like us, you're putting money back into our community. Because also what I've learned is from many entrepreneurs like yourself, Kristel, I've learned de que siempre quieren dar para atrás a la comunidad.
Because we're very much still a part of it. We were there, we relate, and we wanna help and better our community. Like, yes. Before we shut down at the brick and mortar, I was going to start doing like business 101 classes for our community in English and in Spanish. Like, let's educate our people on how to do businesses. I'm like, we're great at starting businesses, but we shut them down. So how can we educate them to, have longevity? What are the right things that you do along the way? Or maybe there's licenses that they didn't know about that, Department of Health or Department of, whatever.
Yeah.
We can help them. When the thing happened in Texas with the children, the Uvalde, we did some fundraising to send them money. So we are definitely still a part of that community, and we want to give back because we benefit from it. We benefit.
Well,
we know what it's like to struggle.
Not only that, but I feel like we are a community-based group. Right. We love our communities. So the fact that you're doing that, that's amazing. And that's what I mean. So if somebody wants like $1 coffee, go to a vending machine. Like,
right. Go to the gas station.
Yes, go to the gas station. But somebody that's putting their hard work into it and putting their heart. Because that's another thing that I've learned. You girls, you women, whatever you want to call yourselves, you guys put your all into it. You don't have a foot here and a foot over there y pues a ver qué pasa. Like, you guys go all in with your heart. and say, this is what's going to be, and this is the change that I want to make. And at no point do I hear any type of, ¿cómo se dice? Excusa of like, well, I meant that then, but the money's looking really good, so I'm going to kind of back out now.
Right.
So,
and because it's a long line of people who benefit from it, right? Like, we buy from small farms. I'm trying to find more small farms that are women owned or women operated. We found one in Chiapas that we're trying to get coffee stores here in Atlanta. So I've always said since I started, si me va bien a mí, I want to make sure that they're going to be okay too.
yes.
Right? Because it's not just about me doing well and putting money in my pocket. If it means that I'm going to take twice as long to get wealthy, that's fine. But I want to make sure that the benefit is taken all the way down the line, to everyone who's helped as a part of that business in some way, shape, or form. And giving back to our communities, doing drives for whatever is in need at the moment. We partner with like our Latin American Association every once in a while and do like book bags and school supplies for the kids in our communities. Whatever it takes for us to uplift each other as a whole, that's what we.
Yes, girl. Yes. Oh my God, yes. And we sleep better at night when we do that. Because ¿de qué te sirve tener tanto dinero si solo eres tú el que lo está disfrutando? And right. I think that's why many of us always get screwed over, right? Because we're always thinking about everybody else. But in this case, you're thinking about the right people, right? If you're going to get a product from Mexico, make sure that they're getting what they deserve. And that if that means that I have to pay $7, $8, $9, $10 for my cup, well, then it'll be my treat. That'll be my weekly treat to myself. If I can't afford it every day, well, then that's okay. That doesn't mean that you're pricing it wrong. That just means that maybe entonces yo me tengo que poner las pilas y ganar más dinero. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing.
Que te inviten.
Yes. Oh my God. If you guys want to send me cafecito, please. I'm going to start asking for donations so I could go to Mujer Divina like every day. But, I love that. God, I love that. And so you have your son. ¿Nomás tienes uno?
Yeah, just the one.
That's enough, huh, girl?
Yeah, that's enough.
My son is going to be 15. I'm sorry, he already turned 15. Sorry. He already turned 15, and I'm like, that's it. That's it. Ya no más.
I'm on that boat too. I'm like, I don't know. That's literally starting all over. I don't know about that.
Right? I don't know if I should say this, but the other day I found out one of his classmates, his mom's pregnant. And I'm like, he's 15. She's going to start all over. Like, ya casi se está deshaciendo de ese, and boom. Girl, I would cry.
Yeah. I don't know if I have it in me. Like, my friends are just now starting to have babies, and like, I'm got 1 year birthday parties and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, ya no, I don't have a patient.
Right? That too.
Like, they look so small. I'm like, I know I had one, but why does this one look extra small all of a sudden? I forgot to know how to hold them.
No, and it's like, and probably también because of the struggles that we've been through to try to figure out who we are, a dónde estamos, it's kind of like, oh my God, no, like it takes so much out of you to raise a kid, porque sí están bien curiositos cuando están chiquitos and goo goo gaga, like that's so cute. But then, then they start growing up and you have to be there physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, like de todo. And so, yeah, it's very, very tough. My sister-in-laws have big families. And one of them has 5 and the last 2 are twins. And I'm like, praises to you, woman. I would have dropped them off at the fire station. Like, there's just no way.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, right?
Right. No.
So, do you ever come in, other than that one time that you came to LA, do you ever come over here this way, girl?
So, I do, like, a lot of research trips. I haven't been back since the LA one, but I actually follow one shop in San Diego called Cafeina.
Oh,
Are
I
you
haven't
familiar?
heard of that.
Yeah, so he's awesome. He's amazing. The guy who owns it is very like specialized, almost like bartender like type drinks. It's
Oh.
really, really cool.
Wait, wait,
He
wait.
opened
How do you spell
a
that?
little bit cafeína, just as in Spanish, cafeína.
Oh, okay, okay. Hold on, I'm looking it up right now because si no se me va a olvidar.
And
Oh,
he
that's on
opened like
46th Street. That is so
yeah,
close
right
to
before
me.
me. Yeah.
Oh, and he has good reviews.
Yeah.
Girl, I'm
He does
about
the
to
same
go there
stuff
after
like
after this.
mercaditos. Huh?
I'm gonna go there after this.
Yes.
So I can get my
That's awesome.
fix.
Yeah, be like some girl in Atlanta told me about you.
I'm a native here. She's letting me know.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, I want to go back. And they do like the coffee fest in LA too. So I try to do LA or Mexico for coffee like conferences.
Well, if you're ever in LA, let me know. I'll be more than happy to meet you over there. We could go grab some coffee over there.
Yes.
Some cafecito.
Yeah, girl, I would invite you to the East Coast, but unless we're going to like New York or Miami, there's not much.
You know what? No. And even then, I don't want to go to New York because I see all the rats, girl. I do not need a rat like popping out in the bar. No, 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 no.
You get used to it after a while.
Oh no, no, no. I have enough like ick with seeing like the black boxes. ¿Cómo se llama? The, like the rat traps, you know, from like pest control. They're everywhere here, but I've never seen like actual. Well, I'm lying. One time, my friend invited me to a Starbucks because it's like right across the street from her house, and we just had like a quick chat to kind of catch up.
Yeah.
And I saw the rat coming like in and out from the back. I was like, no. So that was my only time. But other than that, I just see the boxes y me da like, no.
No, New York rats. New York rats are like pets. They're huge. I only ever really saw them like in like the metro, like the train station. I never saw them like out and about.
Well, you know, we see videos, and I know that's probably not like all the time, but I just do not want to be that person like eating y que se le, like that was a really popular one que se le cayó on the salad, and I'm like,
girl.
I would be traumatized for life porque that's my biggest phobia. Rats are my biggest phobia, so I cannot. Like I can't even see that. I can't even see Tom and Jerry because I'm like, no.
Girl, there's no way around it, unfortunately, in major big cities, but
yeah, no, pues sí. Pero other than that, girl, oh my God. So on the days where somebody that might be listening to us that is making their own business, that is going through it, that is going through the wave, and sometimes you're really low. What would you advise them? What would be a good piece of advice for them?
So like I said, definitely your why. You know, have that very clear and hold it close to your heart. And then I would say take care of yourself. Business doesn't exist without you. You know, do what you have to do to make sure that you're good and you're, you know, healthy and, you know, doing what you have to do every day. If that means taking a break, you know, I've been known for taking breaks. Like I will shut down for a couple weeks or a month or so at a time. Like the mental health break. I need to, you know, recoup, be okay with that. And then, you know, take a breath, evaluate what you got to do, and then keep on moving forward.
Yes.
You know, we're all messed up. If you read any book or any biography of anyone who you consider successful, they will tell you how many times they failed before they got it right. So you have to embrace the failures, not as a failure, but as a learning.
Yes.
Right? So it's a learning to figure out how to do it better the next time around. And then I will leave you with this one piece of advice that someone told me at a conference that I went to. And she said, mistakes are part of the process. She's like, when it's not considered a mistake until you do it over and over again with us.
Oh my God, I love that.
The mistake is not changing the habit or the, you know, the thing. The mistake is that, right? So you're going to do them, but take them as learning opportunities. If you do it over and over and over again, then it's considered.
Wow. I love that. I love that because nos da mucha vergüenza sometimes when something doesn't go right, right? Like, se nos cae el mundo. At least yo me ahogo en un vaso de agua. But it really is that you just learn from it and you have to pick up. It's just another lesson. And oh my God, I love that. That needs to be somewhere, like on a sticker or something.
Framed somewhere, right? A motivational quote.
Yes, girl. Oh, I love that. Kristel, I had so much fun with you. You are amazing. And tienes una amiga acá in San Diego. Whenever you're over here, even if you're in LA, let me know, girl. You're not that far from me.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I cannot wait until I see, you know, how much further you get. Te deseo lo mejor del mundo, mujer. And I hope you keep on breaking, you know, the stereotypes and all that, and you start creating a whole movement. I believe in you. Te creo.
Yes, thank you so much. And I hope I get to see you in person very soon.
Yes, yes. And if you ever figure out how to send cafecito overnight, let me be the first one, girl. I'll pay for shipping. I'll pay for my cafecito. Just let me be the first one. I could be your test product person.
We'll test it with you and you tell us.
Yes. Cuídate mucho. You guys go and follow her if you haven't. Like I said, even if you don't live in Atlanta, I don't live in Atlanta, and I started following you. And I'll like every time that I see you, and I'll follow you and support you as much as I can. Because you never know who's going to be in town. You never know. So, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. I want to hear your story, or I want to support your small business. To do so, please go ahead and visit embracingmymarkings.com. Thank you for tuning in.